Hello and welcome to Left Coast Live. I'm your host, Dieter McBusiness, joined as always by StatPat Stateless Patriot. We are California lefties talking to you about national, mostly, American politics. StatPat, it's been a little while. Don't think we've talked in like 6 days. So, what are your general feelings at the moment about the race? Everybody seems to be really positive, which is why I feel a sense of obligation to be negative.
Yeah, I mean it's the contrarian spirit. You need to insert that a little bit just to get everybody's
Make sure
light
people
of.
show up.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because it's like the race isn't over until it's over. Like overall, I'm feeling very positive as well. I mean, from what I have paid attention to the last week, because I've been, you know, feeling jaded, which tends to happen, but it just comes with the territory. It's just bad for Trump and good for Harris. Honestly, like they're still dealing with the both sides are dealing with the fallout from the debate, and to see even Joe Rogan like admit that Harris smoked him, that Trump lost the debate
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
very very encouraging. Biggest podcast in the world, blah blah blah, obvious reasons, all that. And that the fact that this Haitian immigrant story
Yeah. We got to talk about this.
out of Springfield is still like ongoing to this day because they're doubling down, but there's no fucking evidence of the claims
No.
whatsoever. Like
No, it's
it's
bullshit.
it's literally like just pulled out of thin air, like a
Yeah.
Facebook post taken out of context that wasn't even like its origins are complete bullshit. It just blew up into this thing, and it was kind of done on purpose. And Vance even admitted that, like right wing media just completely like ran with it without doing any background research, without any fact checking, without any verification or confirmation of any sort,
Hmm.
because racism is easy. But it's all blowing up in their faces because like, where's the fucking
Well,
evidence?
with the Haitians, you get racism and xenophobia too.
Yeah,
So it's like we're double dipping here. But I think
yeah,
it's more to do with the xenophobia than it is the racism. I think it's racism is something we're really confronting head on as a country, or at least trying to. I
sure,
think there is a concerted effort out there. It's
yeah,
probably not good enough for a lot of people. It's not good enough for me, yada, yada, yada. But then there is the people that come from other countries. And
yeah.
if you don't
That's it.
come from a developed country, you don't have a great education, you can't immediately add to the economy on a high level, then you deserve to be treated with incredulity, apparently, according to MAGA.
Yeah,
These people are just monsters, like all of them, like all 11 million of them, or 21 million, or whatever they're going to deport. They're claiming that mass deportation that they keep talking about is just
hmm,
absolutely straight out of the fucking Third Reich playbook, dude. It
exactly.
is straight out of it, man. Like,
No
I was
kidding.
watching this, I was trolling this Right Side Ministries or something it's called, and their live broadcast. And this is the Nazis inside of MAGA church people. Like, this is, they don't like evangelicals. Like, they're not far right enough.
Right.
And I mean, it was enlightening. Like, I gotta react to some of this shit because he
Hmm.
even goes after like the what he calls the post-war consensus, which is just what you have drawn me to, which is Godwin's law, that everything goes back to the Nazis.
I mean, and like, there's a reason for that too. It's
Yeah,
like, oh my god. I mean, right wingers like to complain that the media makes comparisons to Hitler when it comes to
yeah,
Trump and whatnot. And it's like, well, is what's Trump saying? Yeah,
Right.
maybe he's saying
I
stuff
mean,
that
maybe it's a
that
valid criticism. We just, because of our amazing system of government, let's pat ourselves on the back. We were able to stave him off. Knock on wood, we're able to do that again in a couple of months.
yeah.
Less.
I mean, maybe Trump's saying things that like Hitler said, like blood and soil speeches, and
Yeah.
like just dehumanizing language, victimizing himself, and painting as many enemies as he could, like they're out to get me. It's all
And the
very
lies and
Hitler-esque.
the
Yeah,
straight up lies that Hitler told. Hitler was a pathological liar. He would say
yeah.
that like, "Oh no, I'm not going to keep advancing," and then he would just keep advancing. I mean, he went back on his word all the time. He didn't care. He was a
No, of
conqueror.
course. Yeah, of course.
Um,
Yeah.
he was an attempted conqueror. Although if he had stopped and not gone for the UK and not invaded Russia, who knows what the map of Western Europe would look like today.
Yeah. No
But
kidding.
another time for that conversation. For right now, let's get into the polls, I think. Why not, right? Let's take a look at the
Yes.
latest polls.
I've heard good things.
All right, so YouGov, sponsored by The Economist, with about a 1,500 sample size of registered voters, and I like that it was done in 3 days. That's nice. And it
Yeah.
included Stein and West as alternatives. Harris +4. YouGov's very respected. Active
Yes.
vote, also, in my experience, active vote's been pretty even keeled. I haven't seen a lot to dislike about active vote, I got to tell you.
Mm.
And they did Virginia too, where Harris is up 10, which is nice. Now, there's these polls, which ended on the 16th, so 2 days ago, and they're
Hmm.
all Harris blue, but some of them are inside the margin of error. Some of them are only 2.
Right.
One of the, one of the polls is sponsored by Fox News, but I don't know if that matters really.
Not
But then
really. I
Andy,
mean, their polls have been like relatively solid. I mean, they're when it comes to being a pollster, they're actually looked at a
okay,
bit favorably.
okay. So these are the interesting polls right here.
Hmm.
This is a Quinnipiac poll that
The
did
big name.
Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, the Rust Belt. Oh my God, hold on.
Hmm. Oh, look at this. +1 Wisconsin, plus
All
5
right, so
Michigan.
this was a Quinnipiac poll. They went after the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania.
There
This
we go.
actually has me concerned because Wisconsin is only Harris +1 when Wisconsin was very comfortable for
Hmm.
a really long time. So that's moving in the wrong direction. I don't know what's going on there. It
Right.
was Quinnipiac is sometimes inaccurate, but I don't know. I'm inclined to be concerned with that result. Michigan looks pretty comfortable still, and Pennsylvania looks surprisingly comfortable
Yeah.
with
Both
+5 and +6.
looks like
When
both of those show big gains for Harris, like especially in Pennsylvania. But like
I think they
to
caught him
see,
on an upswing though in those states. I think they caught him feeling good. I think maybe depending. I haven't looked at the football games, but maybe some the Michigan Wolverines probably won. Penn State probably won. People were feeling good,
not
optimistic about a
not
new
to
era of
mention
American politics.
this is a poll of likely voters as well. So it's like,
Yeah,
can,
it's larger.
yeah, are we going to
Actually,
like,
show up.
yeah, exactly,
They're not
exactly,
necessarily registered yet, and
right.
they're not necessarily even if they are registered, they're not necessarily gonna fill out the paperwork. Here's another Pennsylvania one by Insider Advantage. See, this is what has me
Hmm.
worried: is 800 likely voters and Trump's up 1. He's
Right.
actually looks like up 2. Looks like it's a rounding thing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And like how reliable is that poll? That one's really interesting. Right there. The general election
where?
one, morning console.
Yeah, it's huge.
11,000 likely voters.
Yeah, +6.
Harris up 6.
We need the
That's
extra point. We got the
yes.
touchdown.
Hmm.
Now we need the extra point, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna get the ball back, and then we're gonna score a field goal and make it
Yeah.
2 possessions, and we're gonna win by 10. Winning by
Right.
10 nationally would be such a statement.
No, big
Oh
time. Exactly.
my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the polls. Let me take a look actually at. We did the Rust Belt, so I wanted to show you that
Hmm.
North Carolina actually looks more available than Georgia. So this
Hmm.
is North Carolina. It's Trump by 0.3% is the average. Who cares? Tip Insights isn't bad. It's sponsored by someone called American Greatness, so it's probably going to be
Mm,
actually pretty biased. I know
right.
Redfield and Wilton is actually usually biased towards conservatives.
Yeah.
So, and that was a while ago, though. That was 9 days ago, and that was Harris plus one.
Right.
So, North Carolina is a little bit of a mystery. There's that Quinnipiac poll that they did, but that was, again, that was 10 days ago, and that was Harris plus three.
That's
Morn-
interesting.
Morning Consults had it at dead even on the same day.
Right.
So these polls are enough to drive you crazy, guys, and that's why we look at them so you don't have to,
Yeah.
because they are a little bit. It is a little bit mind blowing to think that you've got this much of an advantage in the popular vote and you're still not really even close to a lock to win. Now this is Georgia. This is why look at Trump everywhere. This is why I say North Carolina is more likely than Georgia because look at Quinnipiac here, Trump plus 3 and 4.
Right.
Morning Consult has Harris is the only one that has Harris plus one. Um,
Yeah.
I just Georgia looks like a bigger reach.
Right.
So
Turnout's going to be everything, honestly, and hopefully, as time goes on, more polls come out, and so we get more of a reflection on um, uh, a potential post debate bump for Harris.
they just all seem like coin tosses. Oh, okay. So that's a
Mhm.
perfect segue. Do you think that Trump will debate Harris for a second and third time?
Uh, at this point, probably. I think he's still. I mean, he loves the attention, and like if he thinks that he could spin it to make it seem like he won, then he's gonna do it. That's. I mean, he's already doing that with the first debate. After a little bit of time has gone by, everybody's saying that Trump actually won, and some crazy shit that he posted on True Social. He
Yeah,
like
it's supposed to be October 1st. Is supposed to be the next one. The VP debate is September
that's right.
25th.
Is that right?
Yeah, which is a week from today. So we'll be live broadcasting for that. That'll be fun.
No, yeah, that'll be hella fun. I was under the impression that the uh VP debate was October 1st.
No, unless my calendar's wrong. I'm just looking
Interesting.
at my. I'm just looking at. I put it into my calendar, so I don't know. I'm not looking at like anything else.
Right.
But
Regardless, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, next Wednesday. Hell yeah.
um, so yeah, so they say don't look at the polls, don't look at the polls. People are going to look at the polls. So I'm still waiting for either Kamala or Tim to step up and say we got to win by a touchdown and a field goal so
Yeah.
that there's no doubt that MAGA is toast. Where is that? This is not
Yeah.
about just winning. This is about putting your opponent down forever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's optimistic. I mean, let's be serious. You know they're going to be back. They're like cockroaches. I've said it before. They're going to be back.
Yeah.
They're always is going to be, 1/3 of this voting public in our lifetime. Hopefully, it gets less than that. Hopefully, it gets into the 20s in our lifetime. But there's always going to be 1/3 of the public that is just going to be trying to take us back to the 1950s.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, it's like what we talked about in the one of our previous streams. Just the fact that like the duopoly is kind of in place for a reason. The illusion of choice, as it were. We don't really have a parliamentary system, and I think it's just by design. Two parties that have largely the same donor class that contribute to their campaigns and whatnot, sharing power every now and then when you know there's not much of a difference in between them when it comes to capitalism and serving the donor class. But in recent years, like the differences just have become so much more pronounced and so much more public. But I mean, more people need to like realize that in order to dismantle the duopoly, one party clearly has to go away first, and that's the Republican Party.
Yep.
Clearly the more fascistic entity, the more dangerous entity. They're not here to do good things for the American people, and at least the Democrats pay lip service to that. The Republicans just have finger pointing
Yep.
and passing the
Blame.
blame.
Yep.
Yeah, and classic tropes of racism, sexism, and
Yeah, well, we should talk
yeah,
about this Haitian immigrant dog eating. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the
God,
dogs. Definitely the moment of the debate. It was
yeah,
definitely the moment of the debate for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Do
I
you think
mean,
xenophobia has peaked with this? I think this kind of woke up a lot of people like, wow, the stuff I'm hearing about immigrants might be bullshit. I feel like this episode, there's silver lining here.
no, no, for real. I mean, if this, I would not be surprised if a substantial portion of this country heard that and was like, okay, this is clearly insane. Like, what is there to this? Oh, there's nothing to this at all. Like, is it just you know asserting classic tropes? It just claiming that these the foreign population of this country, the people who come here from other countries, are basically like savage people like that, like, when that's clearly not the case. Like it's to the point now where the community in Springfield are asking for help. The governor is like, this is completely ridiculous. We don't need hate. We need help. I think that's like exactly what he said. And now Trump and Vance, I guess, are scheduling an appearance in Springfield. It's basically like the fire team showing up to put out a fire that they
Right.
themselves started, that they fanned
Yeah.
the flames of. Like it's affecting this community deeply. The
Yeah.
hate that they're getting from all sides. There are bomb threats called into schools. There are city council members being harassed, buildings being threatened. It it's a nightmare right now for a lot of the people there, and it's not that big of a town. Like the town I'm in is like 60, 70,000. It's I couldn't imagine like something like that taking over this town. It is kind of like a small town like environment.
Right.
And like if there was like a community here of 20,000 people that you know aren't native to the area, they it would be concerning from like anybody who looks at the city like, well, this is our home. Like this is a community. We're almost like a family here. We look out for each other. We all work in the same jobs. We see each other on our commutes every day, like going to and from. We see each other at the grocery stores and whatnot. So this
Right.
is this has to be just I can't imagine how these people feel, and the fact that like this all originated from something that was just completely fabricated out
Yeah.
of thin air because of fear of the other, because of
Yeah.
the intention to otherize scary foreigners.
Right wing
You know,
media is still talking about this as if it's true.
yeah, yeah, no. I mean,
They
they
are
have
still
to.
peddling it. They're still peddling it, man.
They need those
They don't
clicks. They need
care.
those views. They need
It's
those eyes and
unbelievable. There has to be
those
some
dollars.
sort of law that says if you call yourself news, you got to tell the news.
I
You
mean,
got
it
to,
used to be
if
that way.
you, yeah, it used to be that way, but thanks to Clinton and Reagan. Um,
Yep.
yep.
Ridiculous. Like it's it's so frustrating because there's the endless talking points just regurgitated from the right over and over and over again about how the news shouldn't be it shouldn't dictate, I guess you could say. Like they shouldn't for more like more or less they shouldn't report facts because that doesn't make them look good. The news should be non-biased, but like unfortunately for conservatives, unfortunately for Republicans, reality has a bias that is not skewed to the right.
Yeah.
And so calling it like it is, if that offends you, if that triggers you, that says so much more about you. Like what the hell you want the media to do about it? And they try to claim that the media pampers left wing thought and liberal thought and whatnot. And it's like they're more in touch with reality than you are. It's like in the entire right wing media apparatus is just sensationalism for the sake of sensationalism because it keeps people locked in, it keeps people afraid, and they get ad revenue off of that. Like just off of people's fears and hatred and just fundamental ignorance. Like they don't understand what it is they're fucking mad about all the time.
Well, I think they're living sad lives. I think they're living incomplete, unfulfilling lives.
They're miserable.
I think that real entertainment that Hollywood puts out doesn't do it for them. And the Christian movies are never any good.
They're not.
And the stakes of this cultural conflict are higher than anything Hollywood could produce. So this is their entertainment. That's why
Yeah.
right wing YouTube is so much bigger than left wing YouTube. Because
Yeah.
right wingers see political media as their entertainment, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah.
Whereas lefties are into other things like
Yeah.
the arts and, being part of their urban and suburban communities,
Not to
which
mention,
usually involves relating to other people, like going to the theater, going to a stand up comedy show, or going to a badass sushi joint. Good luck finding a good sushi joint in rural America.
yeah, like it's a lot more community driven. Like it's a lot more looking out for one another. Like what issues are concerning what communities? What should you be looking out
But
for?
what
Like when it
bums
comes to
me out, what bums
policy.
me out, but what bums me out though, because a lot of people frame it that way.
Hmm.
Mainstream media outlets and personalities will always cater to the conservative disposition. Like, yeah, we want change, but we don't want the conservatives to feel left out. We need to find a way to present this proposal for change in a very gentle, very easy to digest way. Basically, dumb it down for them. We need to dumb it down for them.
Yeah,
And
sad
my whole thing
reality.
is why? They're never going to
Hmm.
vote Democrat anyway. Why are we catering to them? Why are we
Yeah,
not building up a new generation of voters who look down at the Republican Party, rightfully so? My whole thesis is I don't think I am superior to MAGA trash because I'm so amazing. I think I'm superior to MAGA trash because they are white trash, idiots, bullies, and cowards. And I'm not talking about the nice ones. I'm
hmm
talking about the ones you read about and you see portrayed in. I mean, I don't even think Hollywood's done a good job of portraying MAGA trash the way it should be portrayed,
yeah.
right? There
Just
hasn't been a great MAGA project out of Hollywood. Maybe Hollywood's scared of this culture and like whoever makes the film might have to have private security for a couple of years.
right. Look at any comment section under any article posted on a right wing page on Facebook or a right wing uh, channel, like a YouTube video under there. It's just a sea of ignorance,
Yes.
honestly. And it's like you're right. It does like they do look at right wing media as a whole as entertainment. So what does entertainment require? Money, and they have
Right.
all the money, especially independent media. The right wing apparatus is flowing with money, billionaire money, oil tycoon money, Peter Thiel money, Russian maybe Russian money as well, as we've come to recently find out. The left doesn't have that, and so you don't have big budgets. You don't have people like big staffs or big teams behind um, like a lot of of left wing channels and whatnot. It just comes
Just
straight
your
from a
mic.
passion. Oh,
There you go.
it
Now
comes
it's good.
it comes straight from just the passion of politics and bettering the world for everybody, not othering
Yeah, but
people, not
that's what
persecuting.
I was reminded of watching the hardcore Jesus freaks today.
Yeah,
Was there are people there are a lot of people in the GOP and in MAGA America who are aware of their ignorance. A lot of mainstream media and
yeah,
culture would have you believe that, oh, they're just ignorant children. Well, I was reminded today, I don't know what percentage of MAGA it is. I don't know if it's 50%, I don't know if it's 10%, I don't know if it's 80%. But a lot of these people are aware that they are militant and they want the conflict. They think they are the victims. They think they are being attacked. It's not that different than the Civil War.
yeah, yeah. No,
It's really not. The
no,
War of
for real.
Northern Aggression. They called it the War of Northern Aggression because they wanted the people to perceive that they were being attacked, that they were the victims of the conflict, when it
So
was the other way
familiar.
around.
No kidding. Like, oh, well, they were just fighting for states' rights. States'
Right.
right to what? States' rights to
Well,
do
that's
what exactly?
and shame on the Democratic Party for not shutting down the states' rights argument, because
No, of
there's a
course.
million different ways to shut that argument down. It's like,
Yeah.
really, you think that we should integrate schools? You think that we shouldn't have, like all sorts of laws that if they were left to the states, there would be there'd be school prayer everywhere
Yeah,
if we
or
left it to the states.
abortion bans, like we're
Yeah, it'd
seeing
be
right
abortion.
now.
Exactly. Yeah, there
The
you go.
state,
Thank you.
yeah, the states' rights argument is just complete bullshit. You just want to get away with setting America back decades and decades and decades. With no accountability
And that's
from.
exactly what this right winger that I was trolling today said. I want to go back. I want to go back before the 60s. I want to go back even in early 50s. And, they're anti MLK.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just disgusting, man.
Hmm.
It's just disgusting. This subculture has
Yeah,
gone off. I mean, I brushed up against this level, but I don't think I ever got to legitimate white nationalists.
it's
And
everywhere right now.
that's what these guys are. They're white nationalists.
Yeah, it's like super prominent right now, and like you can thank Elon Musk for that, and just
I know, right?
fundamentally changing Twitter into what the fuck it is today, and I mean like they feel emboldened because you look at Trump and the people that he has in his ear, he he's has just the longest leash. He's
Yeah.
not listening to any of his advisors. He's just spouting off just a hateful, divisive, xenophobic rhetoric and whatnot. And like it's reflected in who like take your pick, like whatever big blue check right wing account on Twitter. It's an endless cesspool of cherry picked bullshit, sensationalized, over exaggerated stories made to look like certain demographics and certain communities are a lot more crazy and a lot more dangerous than they actually are. And it's it's led to stochastic terrorism because the question is left up to the audience, so to speak. What should we do about this?
Right.
What- and that leads people to some fucking gnarly routes. That's for damn
Well, it's on
sure.
the Democratic Party to deliver in the 18 months following January 2025 if Kamala wins. It's on them
Right,
to deliver so that we're not back here 4 years from now.
right. It's gonna be. It's definitely going to take drastic things, but it's like, how far can you take it without like I mean, sure, the right's going to say like what they're going to say. They're the most predictable fucking leeches on the planet. Oh, free speech. Oh, they're trying to censor
I
us.
know,
Oh, this
victimhood. Yeah.
big government. Ah,
What are they saying? So let's talk about that, though. What are
mhm.
they saying that the left is denying them free speech on. I think it's more just we think what you say reveals you to be white trash idiots,
Hmm.
and we don't like it.
Yeah,
It's like why that's all that we're just
that's it.
countering. We're just countering with our own speech and saying we don't like your speech. I mean, this is a tale as old as time. Like,
Yeah,
communication is how societies are built and destroyed and managed.
yeah.
I mean, so why are we? Because they want to play victim, right? Oh, you're calling me out. You're being mean. It's weird. It's like this soft
Hmm.
reaction from the party of tough guys.
No kidding. I mean, it's ironic when you think about it. It really is just.
But what specific issues are they saying that they can't have free speech on? Like transgenderism? Like what is
That's
a
a big
man?
one.
Like,
Yeah.
like DEI hires? Like what? I mean, what are they really upset about? I think maybe they're like. I think it feels like a reaction to being called a Nazi. It
Sure. Like,
feels like a reaction to being called a Nazi, is what that feels like.
I mean, if you really want to dig into the history of how it is with the right wing media online apparatus right now, you could kind of blame Gamergate for that, and just like the overreaction from left ish progressive media sites and personalities to the election of Trump. And so it's like, seriously, a lot of these conservatives are stuck in 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
It's the same talking points online
Yep.
are just endlessly being used. It's like, oh, we can't have an opinion anymore without being lambasted or called for being censored. It's just like, no, your ideas are just kind of
Shit.
yeah, they're just complete fucking bullshit. It's like, does someone identifying as a man or identifying as a woman when that's not how they were born, that's not the sex that they were born as, is that going to occupy the majority of the space in your mind day in and day out, to where you have to devote a lot of energy to making that making a stink about that online every single goddamn day? It's like, that's pathetic.
Well, speaking
It
of
has nothing to do with like whether or not you have free speech or not. It's the fact that like, y- these are people that you don't even know. Like, these are people's friends and family members, and
but
that
they're the
you're just,
other.
yeah, you're just targeting them and putting them in danger for no reason because you think that they're a threat somehow, that they're predators, when there's no
Yes.
data to fucking back that up whatsoever.
They don't care about the
Meanwhile,
data.
yeah. Meanwhile, look at pastors, look at coaches, look at Republican congressmen and assemblymen and whatnot.
Yeah, it's sleazy.
I wouldn't trust any of them in any bathroom with boys or girls. It's like, give me a break. Like, these are the predators right in front of you. This is
Well,
what you should devote your time and attention to.
speaking of old tropes and the old playbook, it's just what they did with gay America. They're just doing it to the transgender community now. They're
Yeah,
selling it as they're perverts coming after your kids. That's the message that right wing propaganda is selling you.
yeah,
Is that these freaks are coming for your kids. And I think those are two variables that I have to always keep in mind when I'm thinking about people my age and people older than me. One is kids, and the other is investment portfolios. Those two variables really affect your politics.
big
Really
time.
affect your politics.
Yeah,
And you want that paper so that you can pay those bills because they add up pretty damn quick when you've got kids and a mortgage.
yeah, no, exactly. Megan says Gavin Newsom law yesterday outlining manipulated voices in political advertisements. I mean, I kind of agree with that. Not non-American speech laws literally being promoted by multiple Democrat politicians this week. Not non-American as in it, like speech laws that are from different countries that are being adopted, or this is going against like what we know as like speech in this country. But no, manipulated voices. I'm sure you've seen what Elon Musk has been doing. um,
I
Literally
actually try to
putting.
avoid him, so please fill me in.
Oh yeah, no, I don't blame you whatsoever. He's been getting in a lot of
He's a Nazi.
yeah, he's been getting under fire because I guess he put out a video of what was supposed to be Kamala Harris, but it was just her voice, but AI, just saying a bunch of gibberish and like
Oh shit.
stuff that she wouldn't like normally say. Like it's just gross shit, and just dishonest and full of lies and whatnot. And now he might be on hot water for that. I mean, like Twitter's banned in Brazil now. I don't know if you knew that, but like
No, I didn't know that.
the whole country just like Twitter's no longer allowed to be used in this country. And that's a big country. There's a lot of people there, and the EU is even thinking about doing something about Twitter as well because Elon Musk really has not learned a goddamn thing because he claimed to be this free speech warrior. I'm going to take back Twitter so free speech will be king again. Like it'd be the free speech platform of all platforms. And sure it is, but with that, um, it's like the tolerance paradox. You know what the tolerance paradox is, right?
No.
It- Basically, it's like if you tolerate intolerance, eventually the intolerant will use the protection of tolerating intolerance to gain
Right.
power
Yes.
and then pass laws that are intolerant of the tolerant.
Right.
For I mean that's basically the gist of it, but it's the same thing with having like a terms of service, you know? If you're just letting people say whatever the fuck they want on Twitter free reign with no repercussions, you might be held liable for that, but not to mention it's like that's also going to affect your bottom line because he bought Twitter and he thinks of it as a business. I'm sure he does. So if less people are going to use Twitter and less advertisements are going to be put on Twitter, something that would have to be done about what Twitter is being used for, the terms of service, and what kind of people are saying what kind of things on there. And that's why
Right.
he's been having an ongoing advertising issue with Twitter, and he's been throwing a fit about it because it's like,
Right.
well, dude, you cultivated this platform.
Yeah.
Why should anyone advertise on Twitter? A gigantic chunk of them have left since he bought the platform.
Yeah.
It's like you reap what you sow. Like if you don't know how to run a damn platform and the terms of service before was just fine. Just could have just kept that in place, but no, he's got to stroke his own ego and appeal to just the craziest right wing weirdos that just lither the platform.
Yeah, he's an ugly guy, Elon Musk. He's a
Big,
very ugly, ugly man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, big time.
and it's um, disgusting what has happened to
Yeah.
Twitter because it used to be relative to this.
Hmm.
Twitter used to be kind of fun,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and now this is just awful.
It's not a fun place to be. That's for
No, I
sure.
don't go. I don't check it every day. I don't check Twitter every day or X every day. I don't know why he renamed it. What an idiot.
Right, and I mean, and he still somewhat kind of refers it to it as Twitter too. He shared a meme that said Twitter on it and whatnot. But yeah, it's not a free speech thing. If anything, it hinders leftist thought. You know, like there's a feature on Twitter now that you your tweet won't be marked as hateful conduct if you say uh, transgender, which it shouldn't, but your tweet will get marked for potential harmful conduct if you say cisgender. And that says everything you need to know. It's like, I mean, Elon Musk is a notorious transphobe. It's the fact that he
Doesn't he have a kid? Isn't one of his kids trans?
yeah, yeah, and he's like, oh, This
So
kid's
did he
dead to
pay for
me.
that operation?
I don't even think the kid had an operation. I have no idea. More than likely, they just socially transitioned. But as far as I know, the kid disowns him completely,
Okay.
and
Hopefully he got some money.
yeah, no,
A few million bucks.
he's a total deadbeat.
Do you want to see the Kamala deepfake?
Sure,
Okay.
is this the Elon one?
Yeah, I think so.
I, Kamala Harris, am your
Yeah,
Democrat
this is
candidate
it.
for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the
Really?
tutelage of the ultimate
Fucking
deep
really?
state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number one, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant. Talking about the significance
Oh
of the
my
passage
God,
of
dude.
time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time. Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking. The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring. And just remember, when voting this
Sure. I mean,
November,
like-
it is important to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
been.
And by what has been, I mean, Joe Biden. Do you think the country went to over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't blame Gavin Newsom at all for passing a
Yeah.
law against political, manipulative voices and whatnot. It's like, it's like, what is this? A YouTube poop? I mean, it is. It's kind of funny, but it's also just really, really fucking stupid. You know,
And it's really dangerous. It's really dangerous.
Big above anything, very
There
dangerous.
needs to be I mean,
I mean, there are people that think that.
I'm tempted to say that there needs to be a Secretary of Media. Like I don't know if we've ever had that idea, but
A Ministry
I
of
think-
Truth.
no, not a Ministry of
No, I'm-
Truth,
I'm
but a
kidding.
Secretary of Media whose job it is to provide complete transparency over all things media related, including entertainment.
Well, that's the thing,
So,
though.
Who owns what's the spider web of ownership, and what are the histories of the families that own controlling interests in these corporations?
Right. I mean, but that, I mean, as great as that would be, it's not in the best interest of either party to be transparent.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a secretary. It shouldn't be a secretary post.
Right. Like, and not to mention, it's like you would need to coordinate with like all the media conglomerates, and you know, it would
Would
be
you?
a very, very involved, entrenched, bureaucratic, um, it, uh, thing. You know, it would require a lot. Not industry institution. An institution like
What
that
if
would
it wasn't
require.
institution? What if it wasn't institutional? What if it was completely superficial, even where it was just all they did, all the Secretary of Media did, which was watch opposition media, and then at the end of the day come up with this was bullshit, this is bullshit, this is bullshit. Don't
Yeah,
listen to this.
I mean-
I represent the office of the presidency. You know,
Right,
like that way
if-
the president doesn't have to do it every day.
Yeah, not to mention like if it's just like a cabinet position, like
Right.
that kind of superficiality, I think could go somewhere. There might be a lot of
Right.
like use to that because That's actually a really good idea because like they become a bit of a lightning rod, but they're just kind of doing their job. They're like
Yeah,
a a fact checker on
yeah.
claims made about the cabinet and whatnot,
And
and
official statements, like officially, like
yeah,
the official position on of the presidency is this,
right.
you know,
Something, yeah, something that
in
goes a
real
bit
time.
farther than what would be like your press secretary,
Right.
like not a press
Dodging
conference, just
questions.
yeah, like someone whose job it would be to just like dispel myths and if certain things were relayed to this person, um, it would be their job to
You also
just
could
break it
just
down for people.
you also could just reorganize the way the press secretary manages their relationship with the press. You also could just
Of course.
redo that position. But the
Yeah.
media apparatus, you always got to be careful with using the term the media because the media is a lot of different things. There's a lot of different kinds of media and a lot of different media personalities and outlets and so forth.
Yeah.
But the media apparatus in our country, with how influenced it is by capitalism, it's really hard to avoid the onslaught style of media relations that takes place between the White House press corps and whoever the press secretary happens to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that there's got to be some opportunity for creativity there. Maybe it's just me and my personal bias because I love creative people and I think they're the really important people in terms of our legacy
Hmm.
as a race is the artists. You
Yeah.
know, Churchill had that quote of "What are we fighting for if not to save the art?" But and
Yeah.
I know Churchill's problematic for a variety of reasons, but
It's true though
it
because
yeah,
they like indirectly, or like I guess a better word would be unwittingly change the course of culture and society at large. Like all it takes is like an art piece, a song, a movie, a project of some sort, and you can change the cultural zeitgeist just by creating it out of nowhere.
find
You making a huge impact culturally, like more significant than like a piece of legislation, perhaps.
yeah.
And all it can do is just come out of nowhere just by the imaginative creativity of any given person.
Andy Warhol was kind of the first one to really pioneer that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he
Andy
was
Warhol.
great.
We didn't live through it, and I haven't studied it nearly enough. But based on what I've read and studied, as limited as it is, it seems like he had enormous political influence during his day.
Yeah, interesting.
Comment on consumerism. It was the kind of the beginning of that reflection of like consumerism. Like this is what we're doing with our country. Like we're just
Yeah,
normalizing it. Everything's the same. Like what's the most famous things? The Campbell's soup cans, right? And why is it the Campbell's soup cans? Because like, oh, this is what soup is now for the entire country. This is what chicken noodle soup tastes like for not for New England, not for the Midwest, not for the Deep South. This is what it's like for the whole country now. And you can all buy the same thing at every grocery store you're in as long as you're in the U.S.
oh yeah,
And so, that's that kind of commentary is what you're talking about. And it can really shine through. I think it's got to shine through the work, not the artists themselves. Like the artist can comment from time to time, but in general, the art needs to stand on its own with its comment. Otherwise, it looks like vanity, borderline narcissism,
no, of
right?
course. Like tying it to the consumerist and materialist attitude that Americans have grown up with at this point is a really good way to go about it because yeah, like I remember having these revelations growing up and being a giant stoner, getting hella stoned and just thinking about like just how everything worked and how everything runs like clockwork, and if a cog goes out of place, then it's fragile. But like the fact that like we all shop the same places, buy the same things, and that it's a nationwide thing, and you know less and less companies own more and more companies.
Right,
Yeah,
conglomerates.
exactly. Yeah, like borderline monopolizing entire industries. It's
Well, Teddy
crazy how
2.0,
far we've come.
man, let's break them up. I
Yeah, let's
mean,
do it.
there's a great book out there called Break 'em Up, and it talks about big money, big tech, big ag,
Hmm.
big, all sorts of industries, big
Yeah.
telecom, big tech, and so
Hmm.
forth. And there's a, I think that will become a more popular message in the next 8 years is the idea of breaking up these conglomerates. It kind of comes
Yeah,
from this
I hope
idea of
so.
consumerism with bundling, right?
Hmm.
Like we like to bundle our products so that we can get a deal. It feels like we're getting a deal when we're actually kind of getting fleeced.
No, of course.
Unless, of
Yeah.
course, we own stock in those companies.
Right. Yeah. I'm really hoping that these lawsuits go, like I think it's these antitrust suits being pushed by the government against Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The
Yeah.
fact that they essentially have a monopoly on the entire
Yeah, live
like
events. Yeah,
live event industry.
it's
Talked
ridiculous.
about we probably talked about before, but like the prices are absolutely fucking
Yeah,
insane,
it's insane. I
and
refuse to go.
I don't blame you. But the fact that like so many venues are basically like tied to Live Nation and Ticketmaster and won't can't sell tickets unless it's through them, and a lot of artists, a lot of musicians and whatnot, a lot of bands they they can't play unless like their tickets are being sold through Live Nation or Ticketmaster, something like that. And it's like there's only so much money they can make if they don't go through them. There's something about it. It's a really interesting rabbit hole to go down if you have the time. But like like the stranglehold that Ticketmaster and Live Nation has on the music industry as a whole is absolutely insane. Like to the point where a lot of music, like a lot of big musicians and musical artists, wouldn't have successful touring careers like at all without Live Nation and Ticketmaster. That's how big of a grip they have on the industry for sure.
But that's because of their established power that they had.
Yeah, yeah.
They basically just consolidated ownership. It's not so different from Clear Channel when they bought like 75% of radio stations in America. And there's also Sinclair Media. There's all
Mhm.
these these kind of middle class things. I mean, I was thinking, what if you brought the idea of communism specifically to live music, and
That'd be
you
great.
had every live music venue have it be a standard charge or whatever, and the venue operates at like 10% more than cost, so it can save some money for like repairs and whatnot,
Hmm.
and have like a war chest, if you will, just for random unforeseen expenses, and then the rest go pays everybody and goes to the band. Like cut out the middleman. Why?
Yeah.
It's like health insurance. Like the business has matured to the point of no longer requiring the private sector. We know
No.
what
Yeah.
healthcare coverage costs. We know how to manage the healthcare coverage costs. We just don't have the power to do it because the private sector is what controls the costs.
Yeah. And it's insane too because like so many venues literally cannot survive without Live Nation and Ticketmaster because all their ticket sales
Right.
have to go through them. It's disgusting, honestly. And the fact that uh, the fact that this is the case, um, more than likely, Live Nation and Ticketmaster have violated antitrust laws, and that's why the government's going after them to break them up. Like Elizabeth Warren, like her or not, or not. Like this is her wheelhouse.
This is her
She's
wheelhouse.
always
Yeah.
she's been big on a lot of these monopoly issues, antitrust issues, and whatnot. That's why she is against these big mergers of Google and whoever else that's been floated, or I think Time Warner and CBS. So, some other mergers are being teased, for lack of a better term, and it's just it's fucking gross, honestly.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see how that all plays out. But we have an election to worry about first.
No, of course. Yeah, no, it's only 6 weeks away. I can't believe it.
How are you feeling in general about it?
I mean,
Like,
I am nervous
I feel like it's like
because
55-45 in favor of Kamala right now.
I do think that she could win it if turnout is high enough. It depends on
It's always that.
it depends on the tricks that Republicans pull. You know, when it comes to vote counting and poll places being closed too early, or what have you. What Supreme Court, like the state Supreme Courts say, like I guess in Pennsylvania, they just excuse me, mail-in voting just started recently, and I guess they had made a decision to where if the envelopes, if the date on the envelopes that you put the your ballot in don't match, then that ballot doesn't count, and that's supposed to affect like up to 10,000 voters. That's a problem, like
Yeah.
clearly, because
No, they're gonna do every dirty trick in the book. The conservatives,
yeah,
because they know they're gonna lose if we play fair.
right, and so like
This is MAGA's last chance, I think, too, with Trump at the helm. He's going to be
no,
82 in 4 years. I don't think he's going to run again in 4 years. I
right,
think this is it for Trump.
right. I just really hope that the Democrats are hot footing it all around Pennsylvania, because that's like a must win, given that Wisconsin, Michigan follow. But if not, then um, at least Nevada and North Carolina, then it's a victory. But Arizona's looking a lot more likely too. Like we talked about before, Walls is super popular there, and there is an abortion. Uh, uh,
On the ballot, yeah.
Abortions on the ballot. Yeah, so um, I'm nervous, but I am remaining optimistic. I'm just hoping that like not a lot changes from here now, other than Harris's numbers continue to climb, and
Yeah, that's what I want to see, too.
Trump
I want
shows
to
up to
see
the
it.
debates, so she smokes him. Yeah,
Oh, do you want him to show up for the debates?
I do. He better. Like I want to
I don't
repeat that
think he
first.
will. I'm like, I
Too
could
much
be
pride,
wrong. I don't
probably.
know. I could be wrong, but my gut tells me he thinks it's more of a risk to do the debates than to not do them. With that said, by the time the next debate that's scheduled rolls around, he could be looking at those polls and being like, I got to do something to get back in this race. So it
Right.
could go either way, but I think it's probably like 60% chance he doesn't debate. He hated it. He
No,
hates
yeah,
doing
he
it.
did.
It plays to
He
all of
did
his
hate it.
weaknesses. He can't think on his feet. He
Yeah.
sounds like a fifth grader on Adderall. No one says it like that, but it's true. He's a child. The guy is an overgrown child, just like his base.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh yeah.
left wing intellectualism would have you overthink this thing and
Hmm.
try to be like, no, they're this way because of this variable, and they're that way because of this other variable. Like, yeah, maybe that's true, maybe that's true. At the end of the day, how are you going to deal with them? How are you going
Yeah.
to compute whether or not to take this person seriously? And the answer
Right.
is judging their maturity, and you can judge their maturity by their politics. And
Right.
their politics are that of a child.
Yeah, I think if Trump was winning overall in the polls, he would say, "Well, I have no." He would pull the same thing he did during the Republican primaries. He was like, "Well, I'm leading her, but I don't have to show up to the debates," and he never showed up to the debates.
Right.
But because he's behind in the polls and he knows
Yeah.
that, I think he
Yeah.
does have to show up because that would not be as embarrassing to him as Kamala debating an empty podium and the entire media going, Trump's a coward, Trump's a coward, Trump's a coward. Look, he didn't even show up. So, yeah, I think he will.
Okay.
As much as it's going to pain him, he'll
I
just
might be
show up.
I might be reverse jinxing it by predicting otherwise.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he's probably just going to wing it. You know, he didn't prepare last time. If he's got like insane psycho bad take machines like Laura Loomer in his ear with blatant racists, then it's going to be another night of extreme, just unthinkable one-liners like they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. So I'm all for it. Please show up, Trump.
Yeah. He's chode. All right, my man. Well, we are at exactly at an hour here.
Yeah.
So, did you want to cover anything else? I mean, I've got some notes, but I mean, Matt Walsh's. Have you seen Matt Walsh's? I mean, you probably haven't seen the movie, but you saw that he came out with a movie called "Am I Racist?"
Yeah. My friend Megan, who joins kind of regularly, she actually went to go see it, and according to her, it was mostly just about according to her, it wasn't as good as Was a Woman because she kind of likes Matt Walsh. I don't understand why, but according to her, there were a lot of awkward moments and it's heavily editorialized, which makes sense. It's a Daily Wire, you know,
Yeah, it's a Daily
schlock.
Wire film.
Yeah. Only like 10 people in the theater in total. It was mostly about anti-racism trainings, basically.
Ah,
But
so it's a
yeah,
comment on DEI.
yeah, and I guess just how companies approach tackling you know uh, racism and bigotry and treating your fellow coworkers. I would assume you know places that have like bigger staffs. I would imagine would need training like that because if you're going to be hiring a lot of people, you're going to be hiring people that are not very uh I guess nice,
At
or
some point, yeah, the
yeah,
numbers are going to catch up with you. You're going to hire a few assholes at some point if you hire too many
yeah.
people. You know.
There's gonna be some ignorance among your hires for sure, and so reading that it's a necessary thing. I wouldn't um, knock any corporation incorporating that kind of training into their hiring process.
Right.
Like hell, my pest control job, take classes like at least one or two every couple months just to update. Like, oh, here's what here's what you already know about roaches, and what do you do about roaches, and this and that, or rats. And it's just like do's and don'ts and whatnot. It's good to have that steady reminders. That way, you know exactly how to approach certain situations.
Right.
It's but I imagine Matt Walsh just made that movie just to take the piss out of all of it and just you know because when the fuck does he ever take anything seriously? I guess I don't know.
He's such a weird guy. He's such a
Apparently he was
weird dude.
apparently he was just on Joe Rogan again. It was just like, what the hell are you doing, Joe? Stop bringing this
Dude,
clown that
Rogan loves the conservatives. He
he
loves
does. Yeah,
conservative contrarians. He loves the Daily Wire
I
people. He's
I
like, oh,
love
they're original thinkers.
I
Like,
love
what
the
are you
clip.
doing, man? I think it might have something to do with Joe never really feeling like he fit in Hollywood. Maybe
Right,
that's
right.
it. Maybe he just didn't fit in as like one of the freaks, weirdos, and geeks. Because it's kind
Yeah,
of great to be a really talented freak, weirdo, or geek in Hollywood. Like that's where the freaks, geeks, and weirdos go to
right.
take advantage of their weird talent. You
Yeah,
know,
and he really is like a Hollywood guy too. Like he constantly talks about. I guess it's the Comedy Store, which
yeah,
is like just like a few miles from Hollywood. I think
Yeah, no,
just north of Santa Monica.
it's in West Hollywood. The
That's
Comedy
right.
Store is in West Hollywood. The
That's right.
Improv is on Melrose, and
Yeah,
then the other big one is the Laugh Factory, which is in
that's right.
Hollywood proper.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'll um I'll never forget the clip of when Matt Walsh was on Joe Rogan. I think a couple of years ago, talking about how they're transing the kids and whatnot, and they've done hormone replacement or like some sort of uh, uh, um, surgery or what have you on kids, and Joe Rogan's like, well, how many kids exactly have been affected by this? Like, how many would you say in the country have undergone this? And I think Matt Walsh like literally said, I would say it's in the millions. And then Jamie, because Jamie pulls that up, he pulls things up and whatnot. He goes, um, I think as of last year, like just last year alone, there's only like 4,700 procedures done or something like that. So like pretty far off from millions for damn sure. And so like he was kind of like embarrassed in the moment and whatnot, and like yeah, dude's a clown. It's exaggeratory, sensationalist, and I can't stand him. He's also a stochastic terrorist. So
And he's not
yeah,
far right enough for the guys I was listening to earlier today.
yeah. Can you believe it? Jeez.
Oh my
And
god.
his own fucking fan base like turned on him and like just dragged him because he dared to say, "Hey guys, don't drink raw milk. Don't drink raw milk." Like, because I guess it's a big old trend right now that like people are like just drinking like cow's milk raw and whatnot, which is really bad because
You gotta pasteurize it.
yeah, you have to pasteurize it. Or, like you'll get fucking sick. You'll get a disease
Yeah, yeah.
for fuck's sake. Like, is that how we're going to get bird flu? Is like, and that becomes a fucking pandemic? Is fucking morons don't know how to pasteurize milk? It's like fucking hell. It's like weaponized ignorance just for spite, just for contrarianism. It's like,
Yes.
but he dared to say like, guys, don't drink raw milk, and like his fan base turned on him. It's just like you cultivated this ignorance. Yeah, funny guy, Matt Walsh.
Well, we got some pretty funny politicians here in California we should talk about at some point. The rotating
Yeah.
cast of characters in Sacramento. I
Oh
think it'll
yeah.
be interesting once Prince Gavin leaves in 2 years and who will take over. I guess the lieutenant governor now, Kunalinkas, who has
Yeah.
gotten some love at the DNC. She'll probably take over as governor. If not, there's a really talented woman out of San Diego, part of the LGBTQ plus community, and she's from Virginia originally. I really like her so much that I can't remember her name,
Yeah.
but she. It's amazing to me that they've already announced that they're running. The race isn't for 2 years, and people have already announced that they're running for governor.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like we
Uh,
gotta shorten these. We gotta shorten these damn elections, man. They take up too much fucking time.
yeah. Megan says the tagline for Matt Walsh's "Am I Racist" documentary thingamajig was a comedy to DEI for. It's like
Yeah.
stupid. She also says thank you for the shout out, regardless of the Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh hate. You're welcome, Megan. Tune in for more of that because there's definitely bound to be some more of that in the future.
Yeah, we
for
should
sure.
have her on, and we'll listen to why she likes Matt Walsh. We'll be very polite, and we'll just listen. And
Yeah,
I'm
we'll see if she's
realizing
down
like
for
we
that.
should at some point try to get a conservative on here, and
Yeah,
and see if we can, you know, come up with
right.
some good content. It would be
No,
fun to
yeah,
find it would be cool to find an anti-Trump Republican and ask them why are they still a Republican?
yeah,
Like, what hope do you still have for your party?
yeah. No kidding.
Why are you still I mean, you have a better chance of becoming a Democrat and becoming influential in the Democratic Party and
Yeah.
influencing the Democratic Party towards what you want that way. You have a better chance of success than influencing MAGA to do anything you want. MAGA's going to do what MAGA wants.
Right. Yeah. And Megan says, "Easy answer. I'm a conservative," which is why she defends them. And she says, "Don't need a whole show for that." So she'd probably be down, but a whole show probably not. But
No, not a whole show. We'll just have you on for
yeah,
like 20 minutes.
yeah,
Um, or whatever. We'll see.
yeah. Sounds fun.
Yeah, no, I should like. I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
no,
I wish there was like
I
an
agree though.
agency.
Like having. I mean, someone. I mean, it would be nice to actually have someone on that is notable because like when we were covering the CNN interview with Kamala and the fact that she said that she would have a Republican in her administration, it's just like uh, it's a great question to raise because if you're willing to join their cabinet and a cabinet full of Democrats, why are you still a member of the Republican Party?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that answer that she gave in the CNN debate about would you put a Republican in your cabinet was very disappointing.
right.
That's not. I mean, it shows that they're trying to go for those anti-Trump Republicans, and I don't know if I can blame them. Hopefully, this is the last election where we have to be catering to the middle, because
Please.
my favorite quote from Martin Luther King Jr. was, "Beware the white moderate." He did not say the white liberal. He said the white moderate. It's a big difference. And he
Yeah.
said that because he knew at the time that the white moderate would encourage people who are advocating for big change, most notably black Americans, to settle when they could get more out of some kind of negotiation.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. 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 That's
And
absolutely right.
it's a great quote, and it's up there. It's right up there, just above the LBJ quote that we like to refer to all the time. Um, of give a white man, a person of color, to look down on, and he'll let you pick his pocket.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
yeah, the culture war, the right wing distraction tactics, man. It doesn't get
Yep.
old to talk about, but it gets old to observe. Like, I'm watching Fox
Big.
News, I'm watching the conservative media today. I'm like, Jesus Christ, these tactics are now decades old. Are the young ones? Some
Yeah.
of these tactics are centuries old.
No.
I
No
mean,
kidding. And it just evolves. Like the language changes and whatnot, but it's the same playbook. Like,
mutates.
yeah. If I have to hear the word woke one more time, I swear, just like fuck, dude. I'm so tired
It
of it.
seems to be dying down. I think it's dying down. I don't think it's got the same momentum that it had a while ago. I think people are
Yeah. People are
getting
annoyed
over the
with it.
people are getting over the transgender stuff. They're like, they're not bothering you. Leave them alone. You know, the
Yeah.
only thing that maybe is always going to be an issue with the transgenderism is the sports. That's always going to
Right.
be tough to negotiate that terrain. I'd be interested to hear what Mike Figueredo has to say about that particular part of that
Right.
issue, because
Right.
he's done a lot of work on the subject, and everybody should check him out if you're not already subscribed to the Humanist Report. Mike Figueredo, great guy,
It'd be
friend of the
cool.
show.
It'd be cool. Yeah, no, I owe a lot of success for my channel to him for sure. It'd be cool if we got onto the leftist mafia for one of their
Well, yeah,
episodes like that. That'd be really cool.
well, yeah, that'd be really sweet, but you know, they're not gonna have someone with 267 subscribers on, and you know, they would have maybe you, but not probably not even.
We'll just combine our subscriber count. That'll
Yeah,
make it
right.
about like 1,240 or something like that.
Yeah, well, I was
Yeah.
hoping to get to 500 by election day, but I don't think it's going to happen now. We'll see. We'll
Right.
see.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep grinding. We're going to keep grinding. I'm going to do like more daily content. I've been a little lazy recently, but
Right. No,
I
I
need
feel
to.
that.
I think we should probably wrap it up unless you have anything else you want to cover.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Basically cover the basics, like the Haitian immigrant xenophobia being rampant.
We drift into talking about us as human beings, and then I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't know if I want to be that kind of show. 'Cause so many of these YouTubers start out talking about a subject, and then they become the show, and I just like I don't, not
Sure.
no, I don't want to
Yeah,
do that.
I totally get that. Trump
Plus, my life
Vance.
isn't nearly as exciting as it was 10 years ago when I was your age. My life was very exciting when I was your age. Not anymore.
Yeah. Trump Vance implosion, Harris winning, and more. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I'm pretty much good for tonight. We'll regroup and be back next week for a show.
All right, guys. See you then. Until then, remember that you don't get change in America by asking nicely. Thank you for
Have a good
tuning in.